All right, so last one from the home studio today, and then it's off for our work night and talking to you. And what we're going to be discussing, along with all the headlines of the day, and of course those stories that you're hearing on KDKA radio, is what really has happened to America and how we can make it thrive again. It really is kind of simple, even though it's going to take maybe a few years to say the least, or possibly a generation. But here's where America has been going wrong. You know, think about it. When we lost the steel mills by the late 80s, everyone was going somewhere else, or they were working for brands like U.S. Airways, right? The baby boomer generation, many of my friends ended up, their fathers and, of course, grandfathers worked in the local steel mill, and when they disappeared, their children found that there was this thing called the airport, which is still thriving and undergoing an incredible facelift as we speak. Going to be amazing. About 8,000 people work at that airport. People don't realize the significance of that airport. But U.S. Air gave those children of the greatest generation an opportunity of a lifetime. Generational wealth, paychecks going from one family to the next, right? Well, then we lost it as a hub. And you all remember when that went down and everything that people, truly politicians, stepping up in every sense of the word trying to save it. It didn't work. It went off to the city of the brotherly love that we know as Philadelphia. And so once again, there was a mass exodus. A lot of those folks who worked for the airlines were working out of other airports, such as in the South, right? So we saw it happen again. We lost thousands of jobs, and things just started to slip away again. And through the midst of all of this, that first wave with the steel industry and then the airline industry, we weren't replacing it with anything. And many people were telling their children, you need to go to college, you need to retool, get a better education because the job you loved isn't coming back. And if you're looking to get a good paying job, you need a college degree, right? Well, a funny thing happened on the way to all of those great college degrees. Population started to shrink. Every census, the numbers in Pennsylvania continued to dwindle, as they do to this day. So what has happened and what we're experiencing is the loss of generational wealth from one decade to the next, to the next, to the next. So that's why roads and bridges have been crumbling. That's why retail space is becoming more available, because no one's really setting up shop here. And Main Street America, which went away a long time ago because of some resourceful thinking of people in communities like Monaca, they are building their streetscape. We have a big project underway right now in Monaca, and it looks pretty good, and it's going to look even better. But this is nothing new. It's happening in many of these river communities, from the Mon Valley to the Ohio Valley to the Beaver Valley. And those are nice steps in the right direction. But the big picture is we need more brands like Royal Dutch Shell coming here with that big footprint. That's right. They take giant steps into the future. And we need to be thinking about the automobile industry. We need to be thinking about the steel industry. We need to be thinking about energy, because that really is the future. That's what made this country great the first time. The large manufacturing companies and corporations that came here and created not just hundreds of jobs, but thousands of jobs. Look, you got to start somewhere. And that's why when we were first telling you about the Shell petrochemical plant, we were looking at the big picture. 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the road, 250,000 jobs coming from that plant. Yeah, the process is taking the first step, but it will get bigger. We cannot stop selling Western Pennsylvania for all of the offshoot companies that are going to come here, such as plastic companies to feed off of that cracker plant, plastic plants that become the modern era's steel mills. And now, with Nippon once again stepping up and offering more billions, we need to get that deal done, because that money will go into the Mon Valley, but a lot of it will spill into the Beaver Valley. Just as a lot of this natural gas money has filtered throughout Western Pennsylvania. The incredible airport, what they're doing there, that will continue to hire many people from the tri-state, not just Pennsylvania, but Eastern Ohio and West Virginia. The airline industry is so crucial to where we are. And you know what? The U.S. Air situation worked out great with American Airlines. Know many people that work for that brand, and they absolutely love it, and it means a lot to the business matrix here. hotels, shops, eateries, all of that stuff. The Air Mall, what they're doing there, incredible. So what I'm trying to tell you is, what we're experiencing has been coming on for a long time. And when you started hearing these stories from the heartland of the country that we call home to the West Coast and south of us, that jobs were dwindling and going away, it was that domino effect. It started here, and then it just worked its way from one coast to the next. I don't know about you, but I can tell you, if you want better roads and bridges, stronger public education, you want stronger health care, you want a stronger economy to where we're adding as opposed to subtracting or borrowing or asking other countries to give us the much needed products that we need to thrive in America? The answer is, and the president, I think, even though it may not seem like it right now, I think he's actually trying to put America first again. And he is kind of, right now I'd say, forcing our hand to get up and get moving again and use that entrepreneurial spirit, but also to open the doors of America to global entities, corporations, and also giving corporations in this country a chance to reclaim their rightful place on top of the food chain. I know these times are, well, tough for sure, but I believe if we continue to talk about it here on my social media platform, and you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, here on Facebook. I'm here, there, and everywhere, but my home definitely is Odyssey and KDKA. That opportunity to engage you, and especially people listening on that Odyssey app. You download it, it's free, AUDCAY on your phone. No matter where you're at, you can get engaged. And I have calls from Wisconsin. I have calls from Michigan. I have calls from Florida. I have calls from the Carolinas, because these are stories that matter to people around the world. And many of them basically had to leave this region to find work 20, 25, 30 years ago. So the recipe is simple. If you create jobs, the rest will follow. And now, because of natural gas and because of what's going on now in the steel industry and rebranding and building America back, and all of the work that can actually be done here in America with American workers and products, the building trades, carpenters, electricians, and plumbers, and more, we could be on the doorstep of beginning a whole new way of life in this country. Something that our parents and grandparents were all familiar with, because they saw, if they got up every day with one common purpose, rolling up their sleeves and going to work, anything is possible. And when you think about that, the greatest generation and before them, what they were able to overcome and do, with all of the technology and all the things that we have in this country right now and the possibilities being unlimited, there is no reason for this country not to thrive again. I know it seems like a lot that needs to be done, because there is a lot that needs to be done. But if we continue to stand shoulder to shoulder and remain a United States of America, people from all walks of life pitching in, but especially recreating that foundation that gave us the middle class, America can do great things. And I know one thing. I want to start using one brick and another brick to build that foundation, to build something that our children and grandchildren will look back on and say, you know, the children of the greatest generation and those millennials and others really put a lot into this to get us on the launching pad and to enjoy all the success that we're enjoying now some 20, 30, 40, 50 years later. We owe them the same respect. And that will be, if you teach your children to work and you teach them work ethic, when their time is called upon to take over and to lead our nation, they'll be able to do that. You see, the greatest gift that you can give anyone is an opportunity, but more importantly, that great gift that really is the best gift of all, to make them understand why work matters and why making a difference is something you should all be thinking about. You need to carve out your own space, I get that, but you also need to carve out a bigger space for other people to stand in after you've done your work. So, the work continues tonight on KDKA, but until then, remember, if you want to see things get done, sometimes you have to do it yourself. It's your Pratt Pack from the home studio in Monaca. As always, thank you and have a great day.